Good to go.
This is Vice Chair Angus McLeod. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Clement Durkis.
Here.
Mary Will.
Here.
And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kadeem.
Present.
Thank you. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. I see Matthew Schiffer.
Yes. I'm here.
Is there a project you're speaking for?
58 Baxter Road, Hostetter.
Okay. I see Matt Gerard. Are you here?
Yeah, hi. I'm with Matt Schiffer, but a landscape architect. So I'm just here to listen.
So we are just meeting remotely, not consistent with Governor Baker's executive order. This meeting, Sconset Advisory Board is convening by video as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Participants may find information on the conduct of this meeting at that location. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So with that being said, let's move on to the first order of business.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it's Mary. I'm just receiving a text from Rob Benchley who says he is at the dentist and he may not participate.
I
He
wish him luck.
apologized.
That's all right. Okay, so can I take a motion for the adoption of the agenda?
Oh, I will make that motion. This is Mary Will.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes, adopt it.
Second from Clement.
Mhm.
All in favor, Mary,
Yes,
Clement,
Yes,
and I'm in favor as well. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes for July 19th and August 2nd.
so approved I
proposed.
whatever.
And
do,
I'll
I
second
propose
that.
Yeah,
Thank you. All in favor, Clement,
yes,
Mary?
yes.
Yes.
And I as well. If it's all the same to you guys, maybe we just, since we have visitors, we should move on to the 58 Baxter application.
Great plan.
Is that good with everyone?
Works for me.
Okay.
Yep.
That works for me, and I am getting it ready now.
Thanks, Kadeem.
My pleasure.
And Matthew, if you want to just introduce us to the project, that would be appreciated.
Okay, this is a small, well, it's a pool house that's across the street from the client's main residence. It's located in a thicket of brush immediately across the street from their main residence, which is at the lower right-hand portion of the page right there.
Mhm.
And there's kind of a winding path that goes through and you arrive at the front entry, and it's where it says proposed structure is a great room that's sort of oriented on a pool. And then on the bottom part of that L-shaped plan is a gym structure for the pool that would contain dressing cabanas and a shower, actually showers for the gym part. So it's all one structure. And you can see on the the pool is sort of centered on the gym portion. And this whole structure is kind of broken down into low-lying gables that would all be shingled and, you know, relate to a simple trim package that sort of is in keeping with the the area around Sconset. And we looked at many like pictures and went through the area too, and tried to keep it all low lying with very simple gabled roofs that are at a 7 to 12 pitch. So on the upper part where it says proposed structure, there's a gable running from east to west. And then on the lower part, there's a gable running from north to south, and it's connected via this entryway.
Thank
And
you,
can
Matthew.
see the elevations right here. There's one brick chimney on the north face that you see there on that upper elevation. There's also an egress way out of the basement that you'll see on the left-hand side. And then on the lower elevation there, that's the west-facing elevation, which faces towards the whole expanse of the fields in the back and trees that surround the site. It's facing towards the western sunset. And you can see there's barn doors on the right that are on axis with the pool. And then you can see the entry door connecting through in the breezeway in between the entryway, in between the great room on the left and the gym on the right. And then you can see the same chimney that's on the upper elevation on the left-hand side that's in the great room. Then this upper elevation is the front entry. So this is the front entry elevation. So you sort of go through this winding path through the woods up a rampart to the front door. And then there's this connector in between the gabled volume on the left and the gabled volume on the right. So we're using a simple, very cottage style, almost like a very vernacular barn style front door. And then having on the left-hand side, square awning windows in a 4-light pattern. And on the right-hand side, double hung windows in a 4-light pattern as well. And you can once again see the chimney on the right on the upper elevation which is on the north elevation that you saw on the first sheet of elevations. Then the lower elevation is the south-facing elevation. And on the left, you can see that this is the pool, it's almost a pavilion pool great room that opens up to the pool. And then on the right, you see the gym. That's the gym gable that's running from north to south. And in the immediate foreground is a shed structure that has a shower in it, that has 3 awning windows that are 2/2 pattern windows. The roof is cedar shingles as well at a 7 to 12 pitch. And the foundation is actually going to be brick done in a really New England antique brick that would match much of the brick that you see in Sconset. So we were cladding that with a veneer brick. We kind of had this idea that it would be resting on a foundation that would be almost like a foundation in the woods, so it had sort of a historical like connection, even though it's new. So, and that about the colors are Nantucket gray on the trim. So we're thinking Nantucket gray PMS-416. The doors are all going to be wood, so they're all cedar painted. The fascia of the gables is the rakes, I should say, are 7 1/4 inch trim, so they're 1x8s that are painted Nantucket gray. The rake is an 8-inch rake. The soffit or the overhang is 4 1/4 inch. The corner boards are 1x6s or 5.5 inches, so it's very simple. The frieze is 3.5 inches to 5.5 inches, depending on the location. And then the window casings are 1x3 and 1x4, depending on location. The downspouts are zinc coated copper, 3x6 zinc coated copper. The cedar shingles themselves are Alaskan yellow cedar. And once again, the brick is going to be one of the approved brick types for Sconset. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Matthew. I'll turn it over to the board. Comments? Clement or Mary?
My comment is that it's reminiscent of the houses that surround it, both the cottage to the north, which was formerly a writing studio, is now kind of a garage and cottage. And it's reminiscent of Flag House across the street. I think it's great. I have no concerns.
This is Clement. I struggled. I don't read these plans very well, so I really had to work a lot with this. And this facade that will be seen from Baxter Road, of course, it's going to be heavily planted, I'm sure. Looks very simple and very in keeping. The brick foundation, since the pool application is not part of this plan, I'm sure there's going to be bluestone, bluestone around the pool. And I don't know how that works with the brick, but this is a very professional application. I'm sure it's going to be great. And it's interesting that the barn doors, that's the gym part. So you open up those doors and you'll see the gym equipment from the pool, and then the little cabanas. I mean, it's quite elaborate. I mean, it's simple, but elaborate. So yeah, I approve. There's nothing to disapprove, I don't think.
I haven't seen the type of fenestration that is for the great room with the long. Is that? I'm assuming that's glass in the lower panel and then glass in the upper two panels, or is it solid for the lower part?
No, it's glass. So it's kind of meant to be, the room would feel like an outdoor room on the back side, on the west side of it, which we're pretty sure you can't view it from the street anywhere. So from the north side and the south side, but towards the west, nobody's gonna see that. So that the doors on the west elevation, Angus, are sort of like a bi-parting lift and slide door. So the room opens up. And then it just has these divided lights going across the tops of each door panel for scale. It's a scale element.
Sure. I think it would be so helpful to see, since this is an auxiliary building for the house across the street, to have pictures to sort of compare massing and roof lines and fenestration and those things. Overall, I think that this is a sensitive design, keeping it low, one story. And for an auxiliary building, yeah, I mean, the barns that or garages that have been converted into houses have the chimneys. We're seeing more and more pool houses with chimneys, and I think that the brick is probably appropriate for there. It's fairly unusual to have a brick foundation, except downtown in Nantucket. There are a few examples in the core of Sconset, but as you move out, it's pretty rare. Again, this is going to be heavily, planted, and there'll be limited visibility. I'm not sure how much of the planting, and we can learn that from Matt. But, you know, is it going to be deciduous? Are we going to see this elevation? 50 feet sounds like quite a distance, but it's not out of view. Connectors have been out of favor and sometimes in favor, depending on the location and who's reviewing it. So that's a little bit of a heads up when you go to the HDC. But I think in general, it's a sensitive building. So in that elevation that's up there now that is facing Baxter, it looks like there's a different texture on the gable to the right than there is on the on that
It's on
gable
the
to
same,
left.
it's the hatch, it's the line weight of the hatch. It's probably like a little darker, Angus, so it's just like in AutoCAD, it's the chosen color of the layer that makes it look darker, but it should just be, it's shingles to match the other.
And all of that is white cedar. You had mentioned Alaskan yellow cedar, which is, I haven't heard of that before. Generally, we have red cedar on the roofs and white cedar on the walls. So is that what you're planning on using, or is it actually a yellow cedar that we need to think about?
No, can I field this for you, Matt?
Sure, that'd be good.
Hey, Angus, it's Will Stevens. Nice to see you.
Hey, Will.
Alaskan yellow cedar, Bruce Killen started using it back in the 80s. It silvers out to the same color.
Oh, okay.
The board approves it quite a bit. I think we did 3 buildings with it last year, sidewall and roof both. It silvers out exactly the same, but it's they're a tighter grain. They last a lot longer.
Oh, that's good to know.
I'll be happy to show you some. And the your comment about the brick, just for reference, it was really connecting to the Benchley house that they own. That and the cottage both have brick foundations also.
Well, that
Flag
makes sense.
house.
So it was a
Yeah,
thematic
flagship.
for it there. Thanks.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, and the Alaskan yellow cedar kind of weathers more evenly than red or white does in some instances. Like you might get like darker portions with white or red, so that just like because it silvers a little more evenly.
I like
do
the idea of it
remember-
lasting longer and having a tighter grain. I'm surprised it's not used more often.
I think it's
This
more
is Clement.
expensive. Sorry, Clement.
No, that's okay. I just was going to comment on, because I know we have several times mentioned the reflection of all that glass from the sun. I know where that great room opens up, that faces the pool. So it wouldn't be seen really from anywhere, but that's a lot of glass you've got on those sliding glass panels, which will be closed most of the time. And also the one, so that would be the south and west facing with all that glass on there. That's just a comment, not a criticism, just a comment.
There is a lot of glass, and I understand the motivation for it. It's you're kind of in the sticks, and with what I'm sure will be a spectacular landscaping job. It'll be nice to have that indoor-outdoor feeling. If there aren't any other questions or concerns, I think we could probably move on to the next application.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
So but we will get a pool and landscaping application as well.
Yes, that's gonna follow in the next hearing.
Okay,
Matt will
thank you.
Provide that, Mark Gerard.
Yep, that's correct.
Thank you both. And Will. All right, so we'll start back up at the top of the list for bunker Bunker Hill, 7 Bunker
Angus,
Hill.
I did reach out to Joe Topham. He again was unaware for some reason today, so he's going to try to make it. If you guys wanted to move on to Thornville or Atlantic, I don't believe either of them are here either, but it wouldn't hurt to just open these up as we are getting closer to them on the HGC agenda, and I'd hate for you guys not to have the chance to review them.
So the Bayberry is not in
Oh,
Sconset?
that's correct, actually. So forgive me. That one we are not reviewing. It's not in Sconset. That's a Mid-Island application. Obviously, 1 and 3 hydrangea are in Sconset. So if you wanted to start there, we certainly could.
Why don't we start there and then we'll pop back up and maybe Joe can join.
Sounds good. And here is that application.
Now, is there anyone representing this one?
There is not currently. And again, they were told, but not seeing anyone here.
Okay, so the application is for the pool.
Let's go to the application itself, which of course also is not here, but it is for, yes, the pool and the they're moving their outdoor kitchen.
Is there a locus plan?
There is, it's a little small, so let me pull up a different one. Let's pull one up from here. Hydrangea Lane 1. So we are here.
Thank you. And then maybe back to the site plan so we can see the house.
Oops, sorry.
So this is another one that has 2 lots. The house is on one lot, the pool's gonna be on another lot.
That is my understanding. Obviously, it would have been helpful for them to have someone here. I can do my best in the next minute just to try to reach out to Lindsay. If you guys want to just give it a look, I will be right with you.
Any comments, Mary or Clement?
Yeah, Mary is concerned about how much hardscaping there is. This is on the back of the property. But it's just nothing but concrete, I mean, pavers. Like, ugh. I'm also a little concerned about that staircase that is within the red lines of today's application. I don't know what that is, basement stairs or something. I mean, that seems like an odd placement. Yeah. I think I'd probably just say pass on it for today since nobody's there to further explain it.
It looks like on that stair, it says rebuild bulkhead. So my guess is it's probably going down to the basement. Have you guys have seen very many pools that are in the side rather than in the rear along hydrangea?
I didn't know there were any pools on hydrangea yet. Well, I know we've seen applications for them, but the houses that have been there thus far haven't really had any, have they?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I think they have, but I agree, I think they are all in the back or behind I don't know if this is a garage to the right of the pool. It says center on the fireplace, which I assume goes across the pool to the outdoor kitchen. And they've definitely identified the pool equipment, but I don't know what that big mass is to the right. I guess it's a garage or guest house. So we've got.
Oops, sorry, Mr. Vice Chair,
No.
through you, if you guys want to look at the agenda, it does seem like we actually have some time for 1 and 3 hydrangea. This is for tomorrow. This is where they'll be starting new business 7:20, and hydrangea does not come up until new business 8:3, kind of down here. So based on the amount that they've been getting done on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we actually will be able to see this again next Monday. So I can certainly just put this one on the agenda and make sure that Lindsay or someone from Atlantic Landscaping is aware and able to be there next Monday.
Thanks, Kadeem. Just discussing it while you were away, we've come up with some questions or concerns. So maybe it makes sense to hold this one till we have representation.
Sounds good. And I will actually go back, listen to some of those questions. If I can jot them down and get them to Lindsay ahead of time, that would just make things easier for next Monday.
Great, thank you. All
right.
right, well, then let's move to our only other application. Well, Bunker Hill. I feel like do you think that's going to come up?
So that one is, it is going to come up. That one is number 15 and 16 of the first group that they'll look at. So I do think they'll get to that tomorrow. Joe is not here and wasn't here last Monday either. I don't know if it will be a complicated one where you'll need him, but I do think it would benefit you guys to look at that now, as I don't think we'll get the chance next week unless the HDC board were to hold it.
Thanks, Kadeem. Let's go ahead and go into it.
All right. You guys have actually seen the pool before, as that has not changed, but the new dwelling has. But I wanted to include the pool in case you guys wanted to see it again with this new context of the new dwelling.
Thank you.
Of course, and here it is.
So Angus, what I noted when I looked at this last week in preparation for our meeting is this looks very similar to the refitted historic structure that they were originally talking about moving to this place that they no longer have access to. It looks like they just copied that structure and put it in place. But I prefer to have the architect confirm that.
Okay. Any other comments, Mary?
That would be it.
Clement?
Yeah, well, my comments are that it looks, I mean, obviously it's a part of it is a garage. So there is access off Bunker Hill Road. So there'll be a new cut through off Bunker Hill. And then there was another portion that looked like they were adding a gate of some sort off Bunker Hill. They've got a few new access points. It seemed to me one off New Street and one or two off Bunker Hill, and I wasn't quite sure about how they were going to do the hedging with the black fence in between, if that's all on their side of the property or whatever they're planning to do with that, with the double hedge with the fence inside, so that the whole property will be fenced in.
Remember, they were gonna, sorry, Clement, but remember this was the one where they were gonna put the wood board fence up between
Yeah.
Pam Murphy and them?
Yes, and Mary, on one of the designs, I did see the wood board fence. So that's still part of this design. I think this new fencing within hedges must be along the outer road.
Yeah, where the hedging already exists.
Thanks, Clement. Looking at this, I think that there were a number of things that we were just, as much as we didn't want to see the barn moved from Main Street, I think we were being more accepting about this proposal because it was the reuse of that barn. And I have a few concerns. Generally, we keep the bulkheads or basement stairs in the back of the house along with window wells. And because there isn't really a back, because it's on the corner of New Street and Bunker Hill, it really would mean that in order to screen them a little bit better, they would need to be on the sides of the house. So the window well, like being on the south side as opposed to the west side, and the basement stair being on the east side instead of the north side. Both of those, I think, are very close to the streets. That's a concern. And then how close that shed is with the 4-pitch to the gable that we're getting this in this view. It's a token foot offset, which makes that original gable look thin. And what really ends up happening is it looks like a house that has a 9-pitch and then a 4-pitch on the other side. So I think there's too much shed pitch, 4-pitch on this structure. I'd rather see that that addition to the main gable be pushed north, maybe 4 or 6 feet to give more definition to the gable structure, and to lower the 4-pitch as much as possible to get that lower down on the roof, because it really is almost going to the peak now. So if that means raising the gable and or lowering the shed, I think that makes more sense. On the north side, you can see a little bit of a broken gable, which makes more sense, and that's more typical, where there's the steep pitch sort of gracefully going into the shallower pitch, where there's more exposed. Kadeem, could you please go to the north? Yeah, there. See how there's much more gable, and then it sort of breaks and there's a shallower pitch. That's more natural than that shallow pitch going almost all the way to the roof, the main roof peak. And also this is the stair that would be right on New Street. And I think that's all for my concerns.
This
But
is
this is
Mary. I
kinda-
know that, sorry.
Go ahead,
ahead.
Mary.
I was going to say, I know that we had the same concern about moving the stairs before, and I would certainly say we still have that concern. We should move the stair, or we should ask that the stairs be moved to the east facade. I agree that this roof line is too long, and probably needs to be brought down. I mean, the shed roof, the primary shed roof needs to be brought down away from the chimney on the east facade. Yeah, I think Angus's comments are spot on. I have to tell you, I don't love this single shingle. I mean, excuse me, single, what is that thing called? The thing to the right of the window. What are those things called? Shutter.
Oh,
The
Shutters.
single shutter. God, sorry, brain fart. I don't like a single shutter. What's the point? I mean, this is not an historic building. They aren't going to ever pull this shutter closed. It's just dopey.
I think that this is probably just not even redrawn from the original barn proposal. So those were details that were borrowed from the barn, but maybe don't make sense with a new house.
That's what I think too, Angus. I just think they use the same everything. And there are these single shutters on Nauma and a few other houses in Sconset, but this is not in the historic district, and I think it is just a reuse of what they were. And I would think maybe we should look at the fenestration and see if they're all 6/6s, and if that ties in, because you would kind of see this. You might see this pool house and the main house and Pam Murphy's house all kind of in the same glance. And
Right.
I don't remember what the fenestration is on the other houses.
So maybe
And I
some
don't know
context would
if
be
they
helpful.
I don't know if they need a fireplace. I can't remember the floor plan, but the barn had a chimney, so I don't know if that's all just carried over or not.
It's a pretty large chimney too.
Mhm.
It is.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions or concerns, we could move on to the landscape.
Let's do it.
Sounds good to me. And here we are. This is a site plan, and I can go back to wherever you guys need me to go.
Thanks, Kadeem. Is there anything in the driveway? There's a line that goes across. That might just be the property line. It's hard to
This
tell.
here?
Is there a gate or something there? Or it's just
Here.
gate on either side? On the Bunker Hill side where where the driveway goes into the garage?
And also that, I
Oh,
don't know what that
here.
is.
So it looks like there are self-closing gates to either side. So the fencing goes through the hedge and then there's a gate between the building and the hedge.
Correct.
And is the apron part of this application, or is this,
The apron is not part of the application.
okay, so that would be a later consideration of what's the drive and the apron and so forth. And it looks like the plan itself is pretty much what it was before, and our concerns were the hardscaping going pretty much east to west, covering the backyard. And that the pool is hard up against the roadside. And I think we were looking for that to go as far away from the road as possible. Do you
Yeah,
guys
this
remember what
plan
are the-
hasn't changed at all, so
Yeah,
your
that's
old
all
notes of
correct.
choice could certainly be, will certainly be used again for this application.
That's correct. That should be the case.
Were there any other concerns?
Well, this is Clement. I just don't know what that, if you look just, when you see Bunker Hill Road and you look to the right, it looks like the fence is broken, the hedge is broken. I don't know what that means.
I
But
think it might be just be for the dimension and direction of that.
because we certainly want the hedge to continue. You don't want a, direct view of the pool from Bunker Hill Road. And nor, self-closing picket fence. So are we going to have another keypad and, where the gates open and close?
My guess is it would be a spring hinge, but who knows?
Yeah, this doesn't exactly say which one would be the self-closing, but they all seem to, be HDC approved.
And I agree with Mary. It looks like the ground cover is more than what's usually allotted, but
Yeah,
So this looks like a type 2 fence, but it's 3'8" if you add up all the dimensions. 3'9", which seems really high for a type 2 fence. And I think that if they're not using the pool cover as the protection, they need a 4-foot fence that goes around, and that would be a very high type 2 fence. So that would be another concern, is the height of this fence. It's not 4 feet, but it's a lot more than the 30-inch to 36 that the type 2 fence normally would be. Okay, well, if there aren't any,
well, I just have an observation. I know that we've gone from having to have pools fenced in to having to have a pool cover. But the thing that worries me is the safety of that, because I mean, this is not really relevant to this application, so I shouldn't maybe bring it up. But, you know, if you don't have a fence around your pool, you're not always putting that pool cover on except when it's wintertime. So I just worry that somebody could wander through any kind of a hedge and jump in a pool. But
Yep.
It's in the village of Sconset. So it's surrounded by other properties and houses and certainly lots of people wandering around. So safety concerns are important.
yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And deer will crash through the hedge and smack into the pool if it's that close.
Uh, um, all right. Well, I think we've said it all.
Fantastic. In that case, yeah. What I'll do is I did take some notes. I'm hoping that Holly is planning on viewing this recording, taking her own notes based off what was said and presenting those at tomorrow night's meeting. I'm not certain if that'll be the case. So I will have these notes typed up as soon as I can, get those out to you guys. You guys can feel free to add what you need to based off what was said. And then we can approve those comments and get the minutes going on and so forth. So you don't have to approve the comments now, but we will at least need to make a motion to adjourn and such.
Well, I'll take a motion to approve comments and we'll sort it out with Kadeem over the course of the day so that the minutes will be ready for the meeting tomorrow. So
Sounds good. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mary. Second.
Second,
Thanks, Clement. On that motion, Clement
aye.
and Mary,
Aye.
I as well. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mary. All right. Well, I'll take one last roll call. Clement,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
I as well. Thank you all, and thank you for your
Thank you,
assistance.
Angus.
Kadeem.
Thank you,
Angus.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kadeem.
My
Kadeem.
pleasure. Have an excellent Monday.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Cancel. Stop.